My girlfriend's friends humiliated me. My girlfriend let her friends make a fool out of me. I've had enough. My girlfriend, let's call her Sonia, went to brunch with her friends last weekend. She asked if I could pick her up afterward, and I agreed. Later, she texted and asked if I wanted to join them for one drink before leaving. I replied that I didn't want to intrude and disturb them, but she insisted and said it was fine. So I agreed. When I arrived, nobody talked to me. I tried to join the conversation, but I was ignored. One drink before leaving started turning into several. Sonia hugged me, but she didn't look at me or talk to me. I felt out of place, so I excused myself, said I had urgent matters, and left. I sent her a quick message saying I felt like an outsider and would pick her up later. She immediately called me, insisting I was making it up, and urged me to come back. In the end, I returned. At first, everything really did improve. People started paying attention to me, and it seemed like all the awkwardness had passed. I even started to enjoy the interaction until I came back from the restroom. Immediately, her friends began talking. One of them told me to step aside until they finished their conversation. I was shocked and looked at Sonia, but she looked away. I felt awful, like a child told to sit in the corner. But I didn't want to cause a scene, so I stood up to leave. Then Sonia said, "No, just don't listen right now." I was completely confused, sat back down, and pulled out my phone. Obviously, I couldn't not listen. They were discussing my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. He disappeared abroad, and no one has known where he is for 2 years. Sonia receives strange calls from different numbers every couple of months. This was news to me. And when I heard about the calls from her ex, I immediately went to the bar. I didn't want to cause a scene, but to discuss something like that in front of me, not hold my hand, not ask if I was okay hearing about her ex, not even glance at me. That was extremely humiliating and disrespectful. 40 minutes passed while I sat in the bar. She texted, "Sorry, 20 more minutes," but it took another 20 minutes to finish the conversation. I was just eating and drinking when she came to apologize. I said this wasn't normal, that it hurt me and I was angry. If the situation were reversed, she would have been furious, which Sonia admitted. We argued a bit in the bar and went home. On the way home, she acted extremely defensive. She apologized, then got mad at me for not saying everything was fine. She admitted her mistake but didn't know what else to do. She accused me of walking away from the conversation. Sonia started getting angrier, so I dropped her off at home, said goodbye, and left. The next day, she apologized a lot, said she behaved horribly as a girlfriend. She had no idea why she didn't change the subject, didn't look at me, and why it took her 40 whole minutes to realize how badly she had acted. She invited her boyfriend and then pushed him away to talk about her ex. She barely slept that night, trying to understand why she acted that way and why she got mad at me for expressing my feelings. Eventually, we had a long conversation where she listened to me attentively without irritation. She apologized over and over and promised it would never happen again. But now I feel very cautious. I realize that overall this wasn't some huge betrayal, but in such a simple and obvious moment when she needed to support her partner, she failed me. And this isn't the first time I've felt like an outsider among her friends, though before I blamed it on my own insecurities. Now I'm not sure I can trust her to stand up for me or even remember me when she's with her friends. I don't need her attention constantly focused on me, but when she's around my friends, we always try to actively include her in our conversations. If one of my friends told Sonia to step aside so we could talk, I would shut that down immediately and tell my friend not to treat her that way. If my friends asked me about my ex in her presence, I would say, "Who cares? I'm with Sonia now," making it clear that she is my priority. We discussed all of this. I told her about all my feelings. She apologized many times and promised it won't happen again. She made it clear she fully understands my concerns, and I truly appreciate that. But I no longer feel comfortable around her friends, and she needs to earn my trust back, which she acknowledged. Right now, I just don't know how to stop worrying. I'm still hurt, I'm still angry, and I'm filled with doubts. She was planning to go on a girls' trip to Maui with these same friends for the weekend. Earlier, I wasn't worried at all about this, but now knowing I can't trust her among her friends, I can't help but imagine the worst scenarios in my head. It feels like I need something from her, but I can't figure out what exactly. And I don't know how to get it other than by spending more time with her friends and getting proof that I won't be thrown under the bus again in similar situations. Additional information. This behavior is completely unlike her. What I love about her is how sensitive she is to me, how openly she speaks about her needs, and how attentively she considers mine. I don't think this situation is serious enough to break up over because in 99% of cases she makes me very happy. I just don't understand where this came from, and it makes me wonder if it was just an accident or a sign of her true nature. She said she fully realizes how terribly she acted. She was very open and sincere in her apologies, but I'm still confused. Nevertheless, she assured me that if this happens again, she will immediately stop the conversation. And yes, the calls were indeed from her ex. Sorry if I wasn't clear earlier. I didn't follow their conversation too closely and was just trying to convey my impression. One of her friends had been friends with her ex even before Sonia met him. She was the one who brought up the topic, trying to find out some details. None of his friends know where he is or what happened to him, and that wasn't the reason they broke up. Sonia left him on her own, and only afterward he disappeared. She insists she's 100% over him, but they were together for almost 10 years and were even engaged. Obviously, when someone who was part of your life for so long disappears under such strange circumstances, it's a bit unsettling. I definitely need to ask her more about these calls. I think she considered them useless and didn't want to worry me. Most likely her intentions were positive, but that's what made the whole situation even more painful. I really do want to keep the relationship, but I definitely won't be able to forget about this. I'd like to ask her, but right now it's hard for me. I think a lot of this is also about my own boundaries. Of course, she behaved badly, but knowing her, I feel like if I had been able to clearly explain what exactly was wrong before it went too far, or if I had simply left when I wanted to, the story would have been completely different. Update. It's crazy that this whole situation happened just a month ago. It feels like much more time has passed. Anyway, Sonia and I broke up. I ended things with her last night. At first, everything got better, then worse, then better again. Then we were with her friends again, and she once more became a completely different person, not kind to me. I yelled at her in front of her friends. She yelled back, and eventually, she gave me an ultimatum. Either I stay the night with her or leave forever. I stayed the night. The next week, I called Sonia to talk about how uncomfortable her ultimatum made me. She immediately accused me of trying to break up. Then she came over to take her things, not listening to a word I had to say. After taking her things, she called to apologize, then blamed me again for everything, then accused me of lying and cheating. After that, she called again to say how much it hurt her that I didn't fight hard enough for her when she suggested breaking up. The next day, I sent her a breakup message because I realized I couldn't do it in person. She immediately came to me saying everything would change, that we were perfect for each other, that we couldn't let one mistake ruin everything we had. I replied, "Give me a week to think." Of course, she didn't leave me alone that week. On the first day, she texted, "Good morning," and sweet words, even though I asked her not to. The next day, she wrote how hard it was for her. Then she reminded me of all our good moments. The day after that, she said I was torturing her with this waiting and that she would never treat me like that. That was especially unpleasant. But all of this only made my decision easier. I don't think she did it intentionally. Most likely, she was just in pain and thought it was her last chance to convince me. So she threw away all doubts and stopped caring if she looked crazy or foolish. Last night we had dinner together. It was even pleasant. I made it clear that everything was over between us and said goodbye. When I got home, Sonia called, begging me to come one more time. She said she was afraid to be alone, that we were perfect for each other, that she loved me and didn't want to break up. After about 30 minutes, when we were both crying on the phone, though I should have ended the call 25 minutes earlier, I told her, "Goodbye," and hung up. Then I turned off my phone. In the morning, I woke up to 3 voice messages and 10 texts where she wrote about how bad she felt, thanked me for the time we spent together, asked if she could come over, and assured me she would always love me. The last thing she wrote was very reasonable, a very sincere apology in which she said she wouldn't contact me anymore, that she would always love me, that she was very sorry she hurt me, and that she never wanted that. I know my last post caused a lot of negativity toward her, and rereading all of this, I clearly see how manipulative and unstable she was. But it's so hard because her mood could change in an instant. Sometimes everything was wonderful, and I felt calm and safe, and then suddenly I was on guard again, like a skyscraper-high wall between us, and we were fighting. When she leaves, a voice message showing that kind side of her, my heart just melts, until I remember her other side. And that's not hard now, because I have plenty of real proof in the form of her texts and voice messages. What makes it even harder is that during that last dinner, we both admitted that problems usually came up when she was with her friends. Deep down, I feel like this could have been fixed. Rationally, I know you'd have to be a complete masochist and idiot to stay in such a relationship. But in my heart, I feel like I threw away something incredible. Like these were the exact kind of relationships worth fighting for, that after all the fights we could have become stronger, better, and turned into a great couple. But as I said, I know that's not true. It's just very, very hard not to let my thoughts go in that direction. And of course, it doesn't help that she often told me I think too much and should listen to my heart. Like most updates that end with a breakup, I'm not entirely sure what exactly I'm looking for right now. I did the right thing, but at this moment, it doesn't feel right at all. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Check out our previous video that you can see right here, and good luck to you.